It is Wednesday, my dudes, and it's damn good to have you here on the Sweat presented by DraftKings. I'm Emerson Latzia. She's Jesse Cofield. And Nick Fryer is here as well.
Yeah, he's here. We're going to get to him in a minute. We're going to check out tonight's NHL slate, preview the Genesis Open. The Gojo dudes are going to be here. We're going to look ahead to the NFL offseason and the coaching carousel that is in full effect right now. But first, let's head to the court. That's why you're here, Nick Fryer.
Oh, that's
all
it?
right.
Okay.
Yeah. We also have DraftKings contributors Gary Thorne, RotoWire's Nick Whalen here, talking bets ahead of a 10-game slate this evening.
Gary Thorne was mashing a heart-shaped pizza last night.
Wow.
That was your gift for your fiance?
I think technically she bought it.
Oh my God!
Well,
yeah, bro.
Hey,
Yes.
fiance, what's mine is yours, baby. So it's your pizza.
I'm just
The
happy.
two of you, like we.
She wears the pants, huh?
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, 1,000%.
Dude, I feel that. All right, I'll side text you after the show. Let's talk best bets ahead of this 10-game slate. Give us, Fryer, I'll start with you. You're also engaged. Give us a favorite in a good spot tonight. Who do you like?
I'm going to go with the 76ers tonight. They're going up against the Cavaliers. I'm just going to take them straight up here. There's been a little bit of movement with the line. Last I checked, it was at -2. I saw it go up to +3. So looking like it's going to be a close game. And actually, the Cavs haven't done all that well in close games this season. They're actually 4-7 in close games. Whereas the 76ers have done well in that spot. But the thing that kind of jumps out to me right now is while the Cavs are hot at the moment, they're won their last 7 games, they're just 16-15 against teams 500 or better, whereas the 76ers, who do in general well at home, are 16-10 against teams that are 500 or better.
Talked about that a lot for our ESPN hit
Yes, we did.
tonight. That's
Yes.
great.
Oh, wait, don't give it away.
Okay.
All right.
Anywho. Gare Bear, who's your favorite tonight? Oh.
Well, as they usually are, I've got some interest in the Nuggets tonight at home. They're just the best home team in basketball. They're 26-4 straight up at home this season. They're one of the best teams against the spread at home. They've got the best net rating in basketball at home. They're outscoring opponents by 12 points per 100 possessions. It's not even particularly close between them and second place. Yes, there's some injury concerns here. You're likely not going to see Jamal Murray. I think more likely than not, he just sits out his 6th straight game and heads into the All-Star break, tries to get healthy over that week off. Maybe we see Aaron Gordon tonight. So, definitely some concerns on who's going to be available for the Nuggets tonight. But generally speaking, as long as Nikola Jokic is available, that's really all you care about, and the rest kind of fills in itself. So 5.5 points. I know there's a lot of excitement about Dallas right now. I've got some serious questions about how they're going to defend elite offenses like Denver. Just with Kyrie Irving and with Luka Doncic as 2 of your primary defenders, I don't see it going very well. I'll take Denver.
Yeah, last game before the All-Star break for both of those teams. Waylon, are you feeling better today?
A little bit. I think my voice is like 5% better than it was yesterday.
Okay.
But I appreciate you asking, nonetheless, Emerson. We will persevere here. I actually like a couple of the big favorites, and they're kind of bad teams tonight. But OKC at home against Houston, they beat the Rockets by 32 earlier this month. Houston is just a complete disaster. If it was not for the San Antonio Spurs, I think they would be universally recognized as the worst team in the league. OKC, one of the better home teams, 17-11 ATS at home this season. And I'm also looking into Charlotte over San Antonio. 7 points is a lot for the Charlotte Hornets. I get that. But, guys, it is hard to overstate just how bad San Antonio has been. I mean, last 10 games, their net rating is -15.6. I mean, that is like almost twice as bad as the next worst team, Houston. They have just been a complete disaster. And Charlotte, I mean, defensively, they're awful, but they're at least figuring things out on offense.
All right, let's talk about dogs. Garion, underdog, you think has a chance to pull off the upset today? What do we think here? Some of these are pretty close. Heat, Nets. Nets are just a 1-point favorite.
Yeah, there's a lot of close lines on this slate. I think I'm gravitating towards the Bulls. They're +120 on the money line. We do already know that DeMar DeRozan's not going to play in this game, which is not great news if you're someone who wants to back the Bulls. But the Pacers seem like they're finally engaged in maybe the sort of tanking tomfoolery that we thought they might be engaged in back in October and November. They are 2-13 in their last 15 games. Nick talked a little bit of the Whalen variety, talked a little bit about how the Spurs and the Rockets are just by far the worst teams in the NBA. That's true. However, in that 15-game span, the Pacers actually have a worse net rating than the Rockets, which is very hard to do because the Rockets are quite bad. I think if you're the Bulls and you're thinking about backing the Bulls, there's at least one thing Chicago can kind of tip its cap on in recent weeks, and that is they have the best defensive rating in basketball across their last 15 games. I just think they muck things up. I think they're able to slow down the Pacers, and I think Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic do enough here that I like the Bulls even without DeMar DeRozan.
Nick, of the Whalen variety, which dog are you looking at tonight?
I have a couple, and I know Gary had mentioned that he does like the Denver Nuggets tonight, and I like them to win that game. But Dallas plus 5.5 is interesting. They have some injuries on their side. Bullock, Christian Wood, Tim Hardaway, all three of those guys are questionable. Who knows how many end up playing? But as Gary laid out, I don't think Jamal Murray plays in this game. Aaron Gordon also on the injury report. So if both of those guys end up sitting out, I think Dallas, if nothing else, has proven that they can put up points and kind of hang with Denver offensively. We'll see about the other side of the ball, but 5.5 points to me, that's enough where I'm willing to go with Dallas. And Utah plus 8.5 at Memphis. That's just a lot of points. I know Utah kind of shed some key pieces at the deadline, but I still think this is like an above average team. They held on to the guys who really truly matter. Memphis, you could argue, has been the worst team between these two over the last 10 games. I mean, they're 3-7 straight up in that span. Utah has the better net rating over the last 10, so 8.5 to me is just too many points.
All right, Fryer, which underdog do you think has the chance to pull off the upset?
So I have two tonight that I'm looking at, but one's kind of more injury related, so we're going to have to wait and see how things shake out. But I do like the Pelicans, regardless, going up against the Lakers, plus 130. I know CJ McCollum is questionable, but LeBron is also questionable. And I wouldn't be stunned if he doesn't play, that he takes the foot off the gas going into the All-Star break because this is their last game. Looking at the market movement, too, the Pelicans look like a sharp play at the moment on the money line. And the Lakers are, 6-6 straight up when they are home favorites, so they're very much a beatable team. The other one that I like a lot too, this depends on if Jason Tatum doesn't play tonight. I am interested in the Pistons money line plus 290. Last I checked, I would imagine Brogdon's going to be out. Tatum was sick, missed the last game. If he plays, I'm not interested in this, so we got to see how things shake out for the Celtics. But if Tatum's not in and if Brogdon's not in, the Pistons can steal this one.
Your banged up Boston gave Milwaukee a hell of a fight last night.
They did,
huh?
yes, but on a back-to-back, I know they've been better in those situations, but still, I don't love that situation, especially with Brogdon. Are you going to go and play him again, too, when you can get an extended rest?
And now you've got Sam Hauser, and you've got Derek White, who are in the MVP conversation.
I'm not Jeff Pratt. You're not going to get me on all this, all right?
All right, cool. Let's talk game totals here, Waylon. Which one is at the top of your betting board tonight?
I'm still recovering from that Sam Hauser comment. That was good. I'm going to go OKC Houston, go right back to that game and take the over on 234.5. I mean, these are two very, very bad defenses. Houston's 28th in defense over the last 10. OKC is 24th. However, the Thunder are top 5 offense over the last 10 games. They've been playing well on that side of the ball. Obviously, Houston has not, but we're kind of relying on OKC to carry this one. They're also a top 10 team in pace. Houston, not too far behind, middle of the pack, so it's not one of those games where you're worried about the pace being dragged down. And last time these teams played, guys, less than 2 weeks ago, they combined for 274 points. So I think 234.5 feels like a little bit of a discount.
All right, where are you going here, Fryer?
I'm actually going to go back to that Celtics-Pistons game. This number's been dropping quite a bit. It's at 224.5 right now. I think when I saw it open, it opened at 228. I like this whether or not Jason Tatum plays. It is not going to have any bearing on whether or not I like this play. The Celtics, the over is 19-10-1 when they are home favorites, and then the Pistons 29th in defensive rating. I just feel like them being on the second leg of a back-to-back combined with Detroit's lackluster defense, to me this is an easy one. But I might wait a little bit to see if this number drops a little bit because it's already dropped a significant amount.
All right, Gary, and which game total makes the most sense in your Canadian eyes?
I'm going to go back to that Chicago-Indiana game where the total is surprisingly high at 231.5. I do understand that these two teams are relatively up-tempo. However, across the last 15 games, these teams rank 27th and 29th, respectively, in offensive rating. The Bulls being 29th, and like I mentioned before, they don't have DeMar DeRozan tonight, so I don't think they're going to get better magically on offense without their leading scorer. And then you've got a situation where the Bulls are great at defense, And across Chicago's past 5 games, the under is 5-0. Across Indiana's past 5 home games, the under is 5-0. Again, when you can't score consistently in the half court, the over is really tough to hit. I think this goes way under 231.5. I just don't trust either of these offenses.
All right, Nick, let's get into Fryer of the Fryer variety. Some player props that you're targeting for tonight. Plenty to choose from.
So, as I mentioned, Jason Tatum, we don't know his status yet, but I am interested in possibly taking the under on his points prop. I still need to see the number and how that shakes out just because he's coming off an illness and everything, and going into the break might limit his minutes maybe. But either way, I need to see what that number looks like. Right now, I know on DraftKings Sportsbook, I like Evan Mobley's block shots prop. I know every other time I come on here, I talk about it. 1.5, it's minus 125 going up against the 76ers. He's gone over this number in 10 of his last 12. There is a reason that I like this play so much. And then on top of that, the 76ers are tied for 9th and highest rate of blocked shots, shots blocked by an opponent this season.
All right, Garion, favorite player prop on the board for this evening?
So I'm kind of just drawn to this San Antonio-Charlotte game. I think it's going to be incredibly high scoring. The total is a pretty good indication of that. So I think there's some points props here that are kind of intriguing. The one that sticks out most to me is Malachi Branham, 13.5 points. He hasn't been the most consistent scorer in the world, but in February, he's played 7 games. He's started 6 of those. He's averaging 17.4 points per game, and he's got a usage rate above 20%. No Trey Jones again tonight for the Spurs. Branham's probably going to start for the 7th time in the month. This is just going to be one of those games that is incredibly up-tempo and no one's playing defense. I think it's a perfect environment for a rookie like Branham to just put up some points and have a pretty intriguing game log. I think even in DFS, he's probably a really good option, but 13.5 seems a couple points too low for this game environment.
Waylon, where are you going?
I like one from that same game as well. Keldon Johnson, over 24.5 points. He's gone over in each of his last 2. I mean, this is a dream matchup, really, for both sides. High total in this game. And, Fryer mentioned these defensive props. I've been all over these, especially targeting the Houston Rockets, who give up 17 steals and blocks per game, which is like way above the league average. Most teams are giving up 11 or 12. They're at 17, so I love SGA over 2.5 blocks and steals. Tonight, it's better value if you want to go Josh Giddey over 1.5 blocks and steals. That's at plus money. He's gone over that number in 4 of his last 7. And again, this is a Houston team that is just begging to turn the ball over, and they get blocked at the highest rate in the league. So I'm going to keep targeting Houston in those type of numbers as long as I can.
Basketball bros, your job here is done because we must turn our attention to the Gojo gang. Mike Golick Jr. and Brandon Newman will join us next. We're going to kind of dive into this latest group of head coaching hires that have just been announced around the NFL, why Nick Sirianni's coach's room is going to be very empty at his next meeting. That's coming up next.
Check this out, guys. You are so
What?
lucky because every weekday you can hear former Notre Dame teammates Mike Golick Jr. and Brandon Newman chopping it up, gossiping about the hottest topics, sports, pop culture, all of it on the Gojo Show. The show's on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, and you're even luckier because the guys are here right now.
Oh, yeah! Good morning. Good morning. morning. How's everyone doing?
Oh no.
Can't
you're
hear
muted.
Brandon, so Mike, we can hear you.
Oh, Brandon.
Brandon.
Turn your
I did the mute
microphone.
thing.
There he is.
Yay!
There he
I did
is.
the
Wow,
Zoom
you
thing. I
amateur.
apologize.
You
Yeah, I
amateur. Hey, Brandon, what'd you do last night for Valentine's Day?
Kept it pretty low key. Florida 4 p.m. dinner at a
Oh.
local Amish buffet restaurant. So it was pretty fancy.
Okay.
What about you?
What's Amish food like? Is that bread?
Delicious.
Bread.
What do you mean?
The Amish throw down, man. I don't know. The Reading Terminal Market in Philadelphia is one of my favorite places on earth, and the Amish are in there slinging donuts,
Dude.
bacon. They got
Freshly
everything.
They have
churned
some of the
butter.
best-
They churn some good
They
butter.
have the best zucchini bread on planet Earth. Had it when I lived in upstate New York. Sometimes you'd be cruising down the road and they're just there in their horse buggy, and I'm like, let's go, dude.
Yeah.
My
yeah.
brother in Christ.
My brother in Christ. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Brandon, to answer your question, I just cooked my wife dinner, got her a bunch of incredible roses, and just had a nice romantic night.
Okay. Lame.
Lame? Lame, buddy? I don't think so. I'll side text you.
Okay. All right. Before we move on to discuss the NFL offseason and like everything that's going down, what were your takeaways from Super Bowl 57? Are we fully on the way to a Chiefs Patrick Mahomes dynasty?
On
Brandon,
the
what
way.
do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it is time. I mean, the dynasty's here. What is it? 2 Super Bowls in 5 years?
No, you can't
4
call it a
years.
dynasty. No, you
Yeah.
cannot call it a dynasty yet. You can't.
Okay.
Why,
well,
why not?
It's
Patrick
Brandon's
Mahomes
turn
is still
to
going
talk.
to be there.
Sorry,
The
sorry.
3rd youngest team in the NFL last year just made it to the Super Bowl, and I guess it wasn't like a complete arse beating, but the Chiefs look like they're ready to repeat.
Yeah, Mike, there's a lot, flying around the Twitterverse too with the tweet from Juju, and yeah, people are
Yes.
saying stuff on the internet.
Yes.
And see, this is the question I've asked in the podcast for a while to Brandon, because I don't think so. I think we've kind of always established dynasty as 3 championships in 5 years, or I'd say 3 and 6 with no more than 2 years in between. Either way, if the Chiefs aren't a dynasty yet, they're the measuring stick right now. Everybody else's success in the NFL happens relative to the Chiefs standard at this point. So that means something. And what I wondered is they've been a very likable team this entire time. Patrick Mahomes is incredibly great face for the NFL. Travis Kelce's been a dynamic personality. We all love Andy Reid. I wondered if we would ever get the Golden State Warriors turn. Because remember, we all loved them until we didn't. Until the mouthpiece chewing wasn't so funny. Until Draymond was a little too loud. Until Klay Thompson was a little too honest. And I didn't know if any of the pro wrestling stuff from Kelsey or now this from Juju might be enough to start to get people to get a little bit sick of one team having all the success. I am not, but I'm very curious to see if there's a public turn on this anytime soon.
Brandon, what'd you think of the Valentine's Day massacre? Yeah, like Juju's tweet here.
So they're calling him TikTok boy.
Oh, my.
That was it. That was it for me. The TikTok boy, and also the wide receivers on wide receivers drama.
Yeah.
I live for it because that's where they need to be set straight
Okay.
anyways. But the TikTok boy.
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, James Bradbury did a solid, something that most NFL players may not do, and maybe
Yeah.
it's the new media thing, but saying that you actually did hold and just hoping that the refs just let it slide. And then for Juju to do the Valentine's Day thing, I want to hold
Yeah.
you. It's just in poor taste, very too soon, but I love that A.J. Brown clapped back.
I will say we are so fortunate to now have a generation of athletes that have grown up with social media all their lives.
Yes.
They've never known anything else, which means we get to see this all play out publicly. Might not be great for them, might not be great for the locker room, but for us, the viewer and consumer, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Agreed.
Social media for us growing up was like AIM, with your screen name and then like your away message and putting an emo song lyric.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I'm a
on
lot
there.
younger than you, but like,
All right,
I
whatever.
hear
But
you.
like same neck of the woods. All right, this is an important question too. Super Bowl halftime review. Give it to me, Mike. What were your thoughts of Rihanna? Riri.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love that now my generation is squarely in the crosshairs of the decision makers for the halftime show. We're the generation that's now come into purchasing power, so that means all of these are nostalgia plays to try and get us in our feels. This was a college jukebox. These were songs. I was talking to Brandon yesterday. Run This Town was one song that we came out to in pregame warmups, and We Found Love in a Hopeless Place was a song that I got drunk to on Saturday nights at CJ's after those games. So Rihanna spanned the gamut of our time there. I felt every bit of the nostalgia to go out there and advertise for her beauty brand, announce her second child to the world, and then still have some of the most iconic shots at the end of this one, her alone with a microphone. It hit all the notes, and it happened because at the foundation of all this, Rihanna's got bangers.
Yeah.
And I think with the amount of time she's been away, we forgot just how deep the arsenal is, and we got a reminder on Sunday night.
I think you guys were talking a little bit on the podcast too yesterday. Like, everyone was guessing. You were tweeting about it too. Everyone was kind of like guessing. Like, is she pregnant again?
No. Hold on. As a woman who has been pregnant before.
Amen. That's why I brought you in on this.
I saw everyone on the internet being like, is Rihanna pregnant? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you do not guess.
You can't.
You do not speculate. And she kind of like, everyone was like, she confirmed that she was pregnant. I was like, this like random hand, like she didn't announce.
Dude.
I'm about to say squat. She literally was like, her rep afterwards was like, yes, she's pregnant. But during that show, I was just like, oh my God, like you just don't. And she was pregnant, so it's great, but you do not want to be the person that's like, and let me tell you, I was sitting on the couch with some people who were like, oh, she's definitely like, or else she's just like, or else she never, like lost the baby weight. And I was like, I'm going to murder you with my bare hands at this Super Bowl halftime show.
Imagine like her baby's just dancing there in the womb, Brandon.
Yeah.
Just having the time of
his
or hers beautiful life.
I want to focus more on the fact that I was not even thinking about the pregnancy until the very last Diamond song when she was doing the overt rubbing on it. I thought, listen, we live in a time where it's body positivity.
Right.
I was like, if
I love
Rihanna
it.
wants to go out there and show her little burrito belly while she's dancing around lip syncing to the Super Bowl,
Power
this
to
is
her.
fantastic.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
No, all right, Mike, here's an easier one
No,
for
I
you.
agree. No, I agree. I'm saying, but I agree with what Brandon's saying. And I was very relieved when she confirmed her pregnancy
Yes.
for the sake of a lot of people on the internet.
Jesse, you're spot on.
Yeah.
You don't need to be first to market on this one.
Exactly.
Ever.
Mike, who is someone on your list you'd like to see perform in a future Super Bowl? I do agree with you. The nostalgia aspect of like some of these recent halftime performances have been incredible for, again, people around our neck of the woods in age.
Well, my obvious first answer would, of course, be Taylor Swift. There were a lot of
Oh
rumors
my
leading into
God.
there were a lot of rumors leading into this Super Bowl that she might be on the docket, and then that was squashed, and we got the Rihanna announcement, which is awesome. So I would love that, but if you ask me to go another nostalgia play outside of that one, he's been someone that has found a way to stay increasingly popular. He was a very important part of my quarantine versus battle lifestyle. Give me T-Pain. That man will put on an absolute show. He has got all the bangers that we enjoyed for a very long time. I feel like he would do an incredible job.
Brandon, you got someone to top your list?
Not better than T-Pain. I think there's something about the now this is what I call music version of the halftime show where we just get all the hits that come out. Like I was thinking super producers like maybe Pharrell, but there's a lot of collaboration involved. Obviously, Adele was famously seen shushing people at the Super Bowl because she was there for the Rihanna concert. I would love Adele. Now that we see that you don't need a bunch of movement to be out there and set the tone, but Rihanna really did just redo everything with the pregnancy reveal, like everything involved.
Yeah.
The fact that she really only had to sing twice in the whole thing. Like I thought that Rihanna really did set the table to the point where now people are looking at the halftime shows like, it's not about overdoing someone else. It's like, what is my best version of me?
Yeah.
Good. Who would you like? Is there anyone?
I mean, I would be so down for Taylor Swift.
Okay.
And I'm not like a Swiftie, but like a huge super fan. Like I didn't even try to get tickets to her concert. But I will say the nostalgia factor of like Taylor Swift has so many bangers that yes, I was getting drunk to in college.
Yeah.
Like
you definitely were.
Feeling 22, Blank Space. Like I mean,
and then when Shake It Off comes,
oh,
and switches it up.
Oh, I would shake it off. I would definitely shake it off.
You would.
Also, I love, just really quick, have to add, obviously, these people do not get paid to perform in the Super Bowl halftime show.
Andy Reid didn't let his guys come out at halftime and watch the Super Bowl performance.
Right, but I
anyway,
mean,
'cause
the
they were down 10
artist
points.
doesn't get paid. They just get the honor of, and the exposure, blah, blah, blah. But Rihanna, again, she promoted Fenty Beauty during her, she did the little powder.
Yep.
And I saw somewhere that, searches for Fenty Beauty went up by, 893%. It was just spiking.
So did
So she
searches-
got her money when she was she was like, I'm doing this, but it's not
So
for
did Google searches, is Rihanna pregnant
Yeah,
again?
exactly. And it turns out she was. All right, let's talk NFL offseason, which, boo, now we're in the NFL offseason.
I know.
Both Eagles coordinators have been hired as head coaches, guys. Shane Steichen to Indy, Jonathan Gannon to Arizona. 5 new coaches in the NFL now, okay? So which one has the best chance, Mike, to make an instant impact, and why is it Sean Payton?
Well, listen, if Sean Payton can pull off the Russell Wilson revival, then yes, there's absolutely a chance to make an immediate impact. The reason I might not go there is, one, I feel like that might be a little bit more long-term process for them, and they play in a really difficult division, as we well know. I want to look at Frank Reich and what's about to happen in Carolina right now. An incredible hire at defensive coordinator. Speaking of the Broncos, Giro Evero, who is a guy in that building, is now the new defensive coordinator for the Panthers. They've got the 9th pick in the draft. And at the end of last year, we saw what Steve Wilkes was able to get out of that roster. And so I think you couple that with the NFC South really being in flux right now, and there's potential for a lot of really interesting output from that team in 2023.
All right, Brandon, when you're looking at this, who do you think it's going to be?
I do want to shout out Frank Wright as far as failed. I think it wasn't failed, but offensive coordinators from the Philadelphia Eagles going elsewhere. I think it's a better chance for them in a really shit division. Excuse my language. D'Amico Ryans with the Texans. I mean, that team proved that they had a lot of gas going in the end of it, especially with Lovie Smith refusing to just tank for picks. They have 2 first-round picks in this next draft. I think there's a system there that they can really build around if they stop firing their black head coaches that they hire. I think D'Amico Ryans has a chance to really put the Texans on the map again.
Yeah, man, building from square one, I definitely think he could have more long-term success than any of the guys we just saw on that list. Guys, I was talking with producer Tom Glennon before the show. I said, man, and y'all were there all last week on Radio Row with us. I said, I have no idea really what the hell happened in the world of sports or the world in general outside of the Super Bowl.
We were in the Radio Row bubble.
Yeah, I know your boy LeBron set the all-time scoring record there in the NBA, but Brandon, what else in the world of sports has caught your attention since the last time you joined us on this show?
Which, by the way, we should have known Rihanna was going to open with the song that shouted out LeBron in it.
Yeah,
we should have
huge
known.
fans, right?
Yeah.
We should have known.
Bigger than LeBron.
Yes.
Better have my money.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah. Go ahead.
We should have known.
The thing that I want to take to task is McDonald's and them constantly pulling out celebrity people to sell merchandise. They have the new Valentine's Day offset Cardi B meal that's just a cheeseburger, a quarter pounder with cheese, a shared fry, a shared apple pie,
that sounds
and
great.
2 drinks. Listen, unless you're going to bring new menu items, save the celebrity BS, okay? I'm tired of running to McDonald's looking for something new, and all I get is a new hodgepodge of things that I could just order by myself. You ask what happens outside of the world of sports that caught my attention? It's these damn McDonald's celebrity meals.
Okay, well, I've got some news for you here, buddy. Some great news. Monday, February 20th, you know what's dropping? Shamrock Shake. Shamrock Shake. And there's a Shamrock McFlurry this year. This is not an ad, McDonald's, but it could be. Your name right here.
Wait, I just want to say I just looked this up, Brandon, and yeah, the meal is a cheeseburger with barbecue sauce, a large Coke.
Oh, that
That's
sounds
what Cardi
great.
B likes, and then a quarter pounder with cheese and a large high C orange lava burst.
That's the high C orange that went away for a little bit and came back. That's childhood right there, dude.
Now talking about nostalgia, I used to make the Incredible Hulk when you mix the Powerade with the high C lava, and to get that little glow.
That's called a sugar
No, that's called
rush,
Ecto
sugar
Cooler.
high.
That's called Ecto Cooler. That's one of the best high C.
I was going to say, the Incredible Hulk is Hypnotic and Hennessy. Please have respect for our foundational drink.
Mike, what about you? What's another sports story that caught your eye, dude?
Or not sports story.
Yeah, or not sports story. Just anything you want.
It's sort of a sports story, but Kyrie Irving in his opening press conference for the Mavs saying he doesn't want to discuss any of the long-term future there. Apparently, him and the Mavs have agreed to not discuss a long-term contract until after the playoffs. So it feels like everybody understands the situation. This is a fling. Everybody knows this could go belly up, and so they all just want to wait and see what happens. It is an admission that, hey, we're going to try and make this playoff push for the here and now, and if it works and you get along with Luka, then maybe we do something, and if not, well, we all had fun for the summer.
It's absolutely savage the way they're just like, we don't know what to do with this man's. We're just going to, like, everyone's literally just like, well...
Just going to let him and Lucas score 100 points a night.
Not everything has to be a long-term relationship. Sometimes it can just be good sex.
And exactly. And you know what? There's something, Kyrie's like that toxic guy, and it's like, you should stay away, but you just can't. There's something about it. All right. Let's say goodbye with the Gojo Rose of the Week. Mike, what's it going to be?
Well, guys, I have to call an audible. I think the Gojo Rose of the Week this week has to go to Brandon Newman. Brandon turning 33 years young today.
Yeah!
It's your birthday for the boys, producer extraordinaire. So a happy birthday to Brandon. Brandon, it's been great to reunite with you during this past year. Looking forward to walking into 33 with you the same way we did when we were like 18 walking into college.
And Brandon, 33 is the age Jesus was when he died.
Yeah, no, I've been looking over my shoulder at the Judases of the world. But yes, I was gonna give a rose to myself as well because it's Black History Month. And, today, 33 years ago, my parents knew two things. One, their relationship was ending, and the other, my life was beginning. I was born on my parents' 50th-year wedding anniversary. It only lasted 7 years, and I think it's a special moment for everyone.
It's the Brandon Newman Rose of the Week now. We got to rename it.
The Brandon Newman Rose of the Week. Wow.
Damn, I love you guys, man. Y'all are great.
What a time to be alive.
It was effing awesome to hang out with y'all last week, too.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Radio Row.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
You guys are fun in real life, too.
Are we?
So fun in real life.
Well.
All right, well, we'll do it again soon. We'll have this company send
Love
us
y'all,
somewhere
guys.
else. We can't wait for that. Yeah, it's going to be
Love
exciting.
you guys. See ya.
All right, adios. We're going to poke over to the NHL. We still got the NFL, and we'll have Lynn Hochberg live from Riviera Country Club to talk Genesis Invitational and Tiger Woods coming up.
Very cool. Welcome back to The Sweat. We have a RotoWire duo in the house, AJ Scholes and Paul Bruno. NHL opening faceoff time, guys. 6-game slate this evening, as we always do. Let's start in the middle of the ice at the center position. Which center is going to give you the most bang for your buck tonight, Paul?
Well, all eyes are going to be on the return of Austin Matthews. It looks like he's going to be playing for the Leafs, but I'm going to take John Tavares, who's been on an extended hot streak. They got a real good matchup catching Chicago on the second of back-to-backs. 3 goals, 5 helpers in his last 7 games as the ledger for the captain of the club. I'll also look at Mika Zibanejad. $7,000 his price tag against Vancouver. They've been blowing hot and cold, mostly cold, and Zibanejad's got a hot stick right now. 5 goals and 1 helper in his last 4. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets overlooked when you talk about the Edmonton Oilers guys. He's got a nice matchup against Detroit, and he's been on an extended hot streak as well. 3 goals, 7 assists in his last 8 games. Don't forget he gets a lot of exposure on the power play with this club. And then finally, Trevor Zegras, who's been really wielding another hot stick. Over the past month, this guy's better than a point per game. And tonight, I expect a shootout between a couple of clubs that are really having trouble keeping the puck out of their net. He's against Buffalo. Got the Sabres on their heels right now with their net minding.
All right, AJ, what do you think? Are you going to spend up at center? What's your strategy?
I honestly think you could make a decent argument for any 4 of the guys at the top of this price range. Obviously, McDavid, McKinnon, probably has the toughest matchup of the 4-pack here at the top, but even then, it's not the most difficult clash here. I think for me, because of price point, then you're looking at between Matthews or Tage Thompson. I'm going to lean Thompson. There could be a little bit of rust on Matthews coming back from that knee injury. And so I look at Thompson, who's got 11 points in his last 10 games. Let's not forget, he's facing a Ducks team that is allowing a league worst 4.07 goals per game. There should be plenty of opportunities for the Sabres to score in this one.
Well, AJ, you know this as much as anybody else. Every good center needs a wing, right? So who's getting slotted into your lineups?
Well, I think with these potentially one-sided matchups on the slate, I think you lean heavy into stacking here. If you went Matthews, consider Nylander. If you're like me and go Thompson instead, I would look at Alex Tuch for 6,600. Just 1 point in his last 4 matchups here, but he continues to put shots on net, which I think is a key indicator that the points are going to come. He's got a decent floor. And again, it's just too good of a matchup here for the Sabres to not have at least some of the Buffalo guys in your lineup today.
All right, Paul, who is your dude in the wings and things department?
Well, I'm going to double up on a couple of Maple Leafs. They've been taking a lot of heat because they've lost too many points to poor clubs. Another one strolls into town tonight with the Hawks being in play. And look at the price tag on Nylander, $7,100, Marner, $6,700. That's a great stack opportunity for what should be a lopsided game. In Edmonton, they got Detroit coming to town. Evander Kane has found his footing right away after being out of the lineup for a while. He's got 4 goals, 2 assists in his last 5 games. Alex Tuch is a guy in play for me. We also already talked about Tage Thompson. Why not take his winger, who costs only $6,600, despite the fact he's got a point per game pace in his last 10, facing those lowly Ducks. And then finally, Artemi Panarin, not getting the love that I think he should as the Rangers' leading scorer. $6,100 his price tag against that Vancouver club, and he's got a point per game pace much of the season, 9 points in his last 4 games as well.
All right, Paul, back on the blue line, which defenseman makes the most sense? You can get Rasmus Dahlin here for $6,800. He's recorded a goal and 7 points over his last 5 games.
Exactly. He's one of my favorite picks tonight, Jesse. Good call. I also like Adam Fox for the Rangers against the Canucks. Fox drives much of the Ranger offense, and I expect him to have a big night here. And then Devin Taves has taken over the point on the power play while Cale Makar is dealing with what looks like post-concussion issues. And I think with Makar out, he's going to be the top power play quarterback option, as well as the fact that he's been very productive much of the season offensively. Finally, Philip Hronek has been in the shadows of Moritz Seider for much of the season, but he's actually outscored the super sophomore. And I think he gets enough reps on the power play to make sense. $4,400 the investment there against Edmonton.
All right, AJ, what do you think? Who's your dude on the blue line?
Yeah, Paul made some great points across the board. I think the best one he made was Devin Taves tonight going up against Minnesota. As he mentioned, Cale Makar out of action in Taves' last 10 games, of which Makar only played in 3 of them. Taves generated 22 shots and 5 points. That's a pretty decent floor, especially when you consider he comes in at under 5K at 4,900. So if you're going to spend up in the wings and things department, as it were, I think you got to look to maybe pay down at defense, and Taves is a good option there.
Well, since you're both extremely talented and can not only talk DFS but also sportsbook, I need your favorite bet around the association tonight on the DK Sportsbook. AJ?
To be totally honest here, I think my favorite play of the night might be to take the shot at the Blackhawks at plus 420, which is just an absolutely ridiculous line here. Absolutely should be long shots here. As I'm seeing, it looks like it's moved to even plus 440. So yes, Matthews is back, and but that line is just so egregious that I think you look at the Hawks. If you want a little less risk, you could take Chicago plus a goal and a half. Comes in still really solid value, so they don't even have to win the game, just lose by 1 here. If you don't want to go with an underdog matchup, I think Buffalo on the puck line is a good spot at plus 115 as well.
All right, Paul, where are you going here for your best bet?
You know, I should have known AJ would save his salvo for the last question. I'll let it ride because I think if the Leafs lose tomorrow, I'm going to be really pissed off. You'll want to listen to me then. But I like Buffalo on the puck line, plus 115, and the Rangers on the puck line as well at plus 130. They got lopsided matchups tonight as well. So I think that they're both going to come into play for me.
All right, good stuff, guys. Appreciate it. As always,
Later,
up
dudes.
next, Pierce Dietrich going to join the program. We're going to talk some more NFL offseason storylines, including where is Derek Carr going to call home next season? We'll talk about that next.
The Super Bowl is over.
No!
A champion has been crowned. And now it's the offseason.
Boo!
Boo this man. Boo this man. Anywho, key NFL dates. Wow, the scouting combine that starts on February 28th. That's the last day of February because there's only 28 days in this month. So free agency is pretty much open, right? At least no, because I'm thinking of Calvin Ridley for the Jaguars can apply for reinstatement today.
Yeah,
Free agency
agency's
officially begins March 15th.
15th.
I should
Sure.
probably follow along on that accurate graphic on the screen.
Yeah.
Anywho, let's talk a little bit more about the offseason and what's to come with DraftKings contributor Pierce Dietrich. Rolling solo today. You don't have Jeff Ulrich to lean on here, buddy.
Yeah, it's all you, man. All right, so let's focus on the quarterbacks for this segment, Pierce. Teams looking for an answer at quarterback. I mean, they could be waiting to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, dude, because
here.
he's owed so much money.
Yeah, and like what's going to happen after his darkness retreat? When is the darkness retreat beginning?
It was supposed to start after the Super Bowl.
Okay, so is he in the darkness now?
I have no
We
idea
don't
where
know.
he
I
is
guess
right
we
now,
wouldn't know
Jesse.
because he's not going to use social media during it. Pierce, what does your gut tell you about where Aaron Rodgers is going to end up?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the darkness retreat. I don't think it's started yet. I had to Google Aaron Rodgers, do a little bit of research. I got darkness retreat. I got him putting Ian Rappaport on blast. And then there was another article about him talking about UFOs being shot down as a misdirection by the government. It's a kind of a weird job at times. So I did find some actual information after going through those articles, and it looks like the Jets would be, I mean, for my money, that would be a great place for him to land. Obviously, it's going to require a trade and some moves, but, you know, playing this fantasy game that we're kind of envisioning where is the best place for him, you got him reuniting with his former offensive coordinator in Nathan Hackett in New York. You've got great receivers there with Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis can still play. I think Braxton Berrios is an underrated slot receiver. I'm even a Denzel Mims truther. They've got 4 solid running backs, 2 possibly superstar running backs, 2 decent backups. The Lions got to stay healthy. Everything looks great for him in New York. Some other possibilities, obviously the Raiders, that would make sense. That would work out pretty well. And I also would throw out the Dolphins as an interesting, you know, maybe they swap Tua for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I mean, crazier things have happened.
Yep.
And, you know, that would be interesting to see Tyreek Hill and Waddle along with a Mike McDaniels offense and Aaron Rodgers. That could be an exciting, fun game to watch too.
Okay, so Jimmy G, Derek Carr, those are guys who are going to be floating around here in free agency. Give me a landing spot that you like for each dude.
I don't know if I really like anywhere that Jimmy G's going to go. And I don't know necessarily he's going to be a first choice of anyone. He's going to be kind of what you settle for if you don't get the star quarterback through the draft or through free agency that you wanted or make the trade. Now, maybe, you know, one of these teams can't really afford to get cute. Like the Texans, he might actually have to be their first choice. So if I had to put him going anywhere, maybe the Texans, maybe the Titans. I don't think that's necessarily an upgrade. It's just hard to get excited about where Jimmy G is going to land. He's never been really a great quarterback to begin with. He's been above average. He also has health concerns. I don't know if anyone really is too excited about how that's going to work. I mean, obviously we went through it last year, and here we are again. Derek Carr is much more interesting. He can be much more selective. He's going to pick a place where he can win. So he's going to look at a team, you know, from head to toe and make a decision. I think the Saints are the best place for him. They've got a great defense. Offensive line's playing pretty well. You've got the running backs. You've got receivers if Michael Thomas can stay healthy. I like the direction that the Saints are going to go in. Maybe the Panthers are a possibility, but Derek Carr in the Dome in New Orleans that could be fun too.
Yeah, and it was reported too, like after he had that meeting with the Saints is when he came back and said to the Raiders, no, I'm not waiving like my no trade clause. So I think that they're linked pretty tight there. According to reports.
According to
I have
reports.
no idea what the hell I'm talking
All right,
about.
how about some guys whose contracts are up, like Lamar Jackson, Geno Smith, Daniel Jones? You'd assume that they're going to either be franchise tagged or signed by their current team, but can you see anyone from that group moving on? I mean, you got to think they're going to franchise tag Lamar Jackson. So like,
Hundo P.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Jackson's not going anywhere. He's going to get tagged, or maybe they'll finally work out some sort of deal. The Daniel Jones is a little bit more interesting because they've got to deal with Barkley and Daniel Jones, and they can only tag one of them. But I think it's ultimately going to be Daniel Jones, and they'll find a way to work out a deal with Barkley. And I mean, I can understand the argument against Jones that he's not really an irreplaceable quarterback, but who are you going to replace him with? And we got to be fair to Daniel Jones. He's never had any talent around him. He's been through multiple offensive coordinators. Finally, last season, he had a good offensive coach, and they went to the playoffs. He still didn't have any talent around him. So this might just be the tip of the iceberg with Daniel Jones. So I think it would be absolutely ludicrous not to tag him. And then with Geno, they can't afford to tag him. They can't get under the cap, and Geno knows that. So they've got to work out some sort of long-term deal, or Geno's got to test the market. I don't think that would be wise. He's still Geno Smith. He had a great season, but I don't think anyone's clamoring over signing Geno Smith as their starting quarterback. So I think all three of them stay put, two get tagged, and Geno works out a deal.
All right. Before you take off, are you Team USFL or Team XFL?
I'm team whichever one puts together a good product, and it's not that hard to do. They just need to give us some statistics, and they need to have solid, consistent rosters and not just randos playing every other week, switching teams 5 times. You may know this or you may not. You probably don't, but I wrote USFL content on DK Nation.
Yep.
And the reason you probably don't know is because that article got canceled about 4 weeks in because no one was reading it.
Wow.
So, I'm probably not the guy to talk to about USFL content and hyping it up, but if they can give us quality stats and have consistent rosters, then I think the XFL can work, and I think the US.
All right.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, a little combo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for everyone to be successful.
I just hope both leagues have fun.
This isn't new you.
I just
this
hope
is weird.
both leagues have
it's the most
fun.
positive thing you've ever said. I just want everyone to be successful and have fun.
Yeah, that's great. We love that. Thank you, Pierce. We appreciate it as always. One more break, one more block to go here on the Sweat. We got our dude, Len Hochberg, reporting live from Riviera. We're going to preview the Genesis Invitational coming up next.
All this talk about the return of Tiger Woods, first tournament since the British Open, first non-major since 2020 at Riviera Country Club for the Genesis this week. This is like a major-esque field, and it has a major-esque feel to it now because Len Hochberg of RotoWire, for crying out loud, is joining us live from Riviera Country Club for a PGA Tour price check. What's up, dude?
It's cold, you said.
It's cold. As I drove down here from the San Fernando Valley where I live to Pacific Palisades on a canyon road, my car thermometer dipped down to 29 degrees. It's in the 40s now, but we've got a good 2, 3, 4 club wind now. It's pretty cold. I don't know if you can see any trees behind me or anything, but they're blowing.
Yeah, I see. There's definitely a dead tree over your right shoulder. We can see that, but the sun is shining. Wow, look at this view, for crying out loud. I'm actually jealous because we don't see the sun very often in Boston this time of year. So maybe the cold, maybe the wind here, Len, I don't know. Probably not great for Tiger Woods, who again admitted yesterday he's rusty. Doesn't feel super hot, but also still believes he can win this thing. $7,300 on DraftKings. Outside of the nostalgia and the fun factor, obviously, what is your argument for using him this week? Do you even have one?
Well, it's good that you brought up the weather in relation to Tiger, because my laptop is blowing here because it's cold and the warm temperatures are his best friend right now, and he will not have his best friends here this week. Temperature in the 40s. The wind's supposed to die down tomorrow. But, this was not a great course for Tiger Woods, even when he was Tiger Woods, if I can phrase it like that. He's never won here, played here more than any other course, and has not won. $7,300. The price is really irrelevant. The question is, do we think he can make the cut? I don't think so. We saw him play. We saw him talk yesterday, and he was really positive, and he was almost convincing that I almost thought he can do it. But this is really a warm-up for him. Maybe he'll have one more next month in advance of the Masters, warming up for the Masters. Even though more than half the field will make the cut, I don't see Tiger doing it. Love to be wrong.
All right, a number of big names in this tournament that come with big price tags. So 4 golfers over 10K. 19 of the top 20 players in the official World Golf Rankings. Scotty Scheffler, newly minted #1. So you got Rahm, Scheffler, Rory, JT. Are you going to go high here? Do you like any of these guys with the big price tags?
Well, I think we have to go high. I think in this field, which is very similar to last week's field, we saw a big name win. Yes, Nick Taylor was right there, but 2 of the top 3 were Scheffler and Rahm. Anticipate something again this week. So I have no problem paying up because there's probably a window of maybe 10 or 12 guys who are going to win this tournament. And of those 4, I happen to like Rahm and Justin Thomas the best. Scheffler would be very hard to repeat, although he did do 4 of 6 around this time last year. I do like Rahm and Justin Thomas the best. I think you could even go a little bit lower into the 9s and try and stack a few guys.
Okay, let's go to that position here. One of the guys a little lower in the 9s would be Max Homa, a guy who's had some success here. Just right under those big names at $9,700. You looking his way, or take us around this salary range?
He's won 4 of his 6 PGA Tour titles in his home state. So
he loves Cali.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And by the way, nobody in California ever says Cali. But moving.
Well, hey, that brings me to my next point. Don't ever call Boston Beantown. No one here says that either.
Fair enough. We got it. We have a deal. Max Homa is really a perfect guy for this course. Riviera demands every club in the bag. If any have any real weakness, it will expose you. Max Homa is not in the individual strokes gained categories. He's not in the top 10 in any of them. Approach, around the green, putting, any of them. But when you add them all up collectively to strokes gained total, he is 6th. He is perfect for this course. I expect him to have a very good week. He will be in some of my lineups.
All right, favorite value play for the Genesis. Where are you looking for value in this one, Len?
I was doing my research, and I was very surprised to see that Jonathan Vegas, $6,900, is either first or second on tour in strokes gained off the tee and tee to green. I mean, that is real deal, and I believe he's 7th in strokes gained approach. Now, his putting is really bad, really woeful, like 180th in putting. So that might prevent a very high finish, but he's been top 25 the last 2 weeks or his last 2 tournaments, including Phoenix. So at $6,900, he looks to be a very smart play and hopefully get another top 25.
All right, we'll get you out of here with this so you can get back inside, warm up, or go walk the course. Your favorite DFS play this week for the Genesis Invitational. Who you got?
I'm going to try and get a lot of 9,000s or a few 9,000s in my lineup, and Home is one of them, and the other one is Tony Finau at $9,500. In the last 5 years, Finau has been runner-up here twice, one of them Oklahoma. He is second in strokes gained total. His putting was always his weakness. He's now about 25th on tour in strokes gained putting. He could fit into a lot of lineups at 95 and move down from those $10,000 guys or even 11,000. Tony Finau could win this tournament.
All right, Len, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Enjoy
dude.
it out there. Hopefully it warms up for you a little bit. That is a show. That's it for us today, Emerson.
Yeah, that's right.
But Madden starts at noon. Bucks 49ers. That is the first of 6 games on the Madden slate coming your way today.
No draft
And
tonight.
then there is the slate this evening at 5 p.m. with you and Nick Fryer.
Yep.
That's going to be a good time. And then we will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you then.